Welcome aboard, YouTube! Today we are setting sail on another coin rating and review on the culture of currency. Today we are talking about the Queen Anne's Revenge, minted for the island nation of Tuvalu. As always, I wanted to dive into some history and cultural significance before we can really rate this coin fairly. I, however, am going to focus on the history of the artwork today because it is very popular and Tuvalu puts out many coins, so I can give cultural depictions on other videos. This is a coin series that started back in 2019, I know, a long time ago. Like coins in the past, this one features the man and legend Blackbeard and or his ship. The coin is named after the Queen Anne's Revenge. This is a boat. So our next logical question is, who was Queen Anne and why was she so upset where she needed revenge? Turns out, it's a little more complicated than that. We have to travel back in time to the early 1700s to find the answer in a land called Spain. The Bible clearly says, "Be fruitful and multiply." Unfortunately, for one reason or another, the King of Spain, Charles at the time, did not do that, and he met the demise childless. This left one of the strongest nations without a direct successor to the crown, causing division and weakness. We then travel north to England, where Queen Anne was in power and was in the midst of a battle in the British colonies throughout the east coast of what we know as America. This would have been around 1702 to 1713 and known as the Queen Anne's War. Spain had been creating missions to convert people to Catholicism while England had built towns. Due to the imbalance of Spain and the warring of the Spanish area of influence in many areas of the world, we had the Spanish Succession, where Spain pulled back influence in all of those different areas to protect the homeland. It was during the War of Spanish Succession that we run into a guy named Edward Thatch, a Bristol man and a former British Royal Navyman who was most likely from a rich family because he could read and write, and we have evidence of that. Bristol was a giant English port city known for the international slave trade and boat building. It is speculated that Thatch, who we will eventually know as Blackbeard the Pirate, crossed to the Caribbean on a slave vessel. It is in this time that Thatch joined in the fighting of the Spanish Succession and was probably on a privateer vessel in the Queen Anne's War. I'm not going to go into Blackbeard too much more because this coin is about the Queen Anne's Revenge, but basically, Thatch was called Blackbeard due to his appearance and the psychological warfare that he had. He often would have ships surrender out of fear rather than violence that we associate with pirates these days. He traveled from the West Indies up the coast of the British colonies, America, and this is where he captured a French ship called Le Concorde, which Blackbeard renamed the Queen Anne's Revenge. Funny thing about this ship is that it was originally called the Concorde and was built in Bristol, England, where Blackbeard was apparently born, and so it might have been an association there to say, hey, this is a good ship, I know this ship. This ship comes from my hometown. I'm going to make this my big time head vessel in my fleet. So this coin that we associate most with Blackbeard is featured on this series of coins and has been featured on other series, and we'll get to that in a second. Blackbeard improved the once French and English ship with 40 cannons and banded together with other pirates to form blockades around the Carolinas, basically to pillage and plunder goods and to create ransoms that people had to pay to get through. Though this is a renowned ship, it was fairly short-lived, just like Blackbeard, who was killed in battle around 40 years old. Blackbeard actually only used the Queen Anne's Revenge for a year or less because he cast it aground on a sandbar and had to abandon the vessel. This ship was actually found in the 1990s and verified that it was the Concorde vessel, built in Bristol and traded to the French to be La Concorde, which was eventually commandeered by Blackbeard. Now that we understand the ship, let's get into the coin and put it to our 60-point scale. On the front of the coin, we have the frosted backing with the standard bust of Queen Elizabeth, not Anne. We also see that this is minted for the island of Tuvalu, which Blackbeard or this vessel had no association with or probably knowledge of existence. We also see that this is 4 9/ounce silver, and mine is a 2019. This is a fairly basic queen coin, but does offer a little relief with the frosted background, so I scored a 6. On the back, we have an absolutely stunning piece of artwork in coinage. The mirrored rim has an awesome front with the skull and crossbones, which I actually think can be traced back to the Naval Knights Templar of the Crusades, but that's a topic for another video. We see center stage, or see in this case, the majestic Queen Anne's Revenge with full sails, most likely in coastal waters of the Carolinas. We also see the flag that has been widely debated as the actual flag that would have been flown on the vessel. Most experts think that this flag would not actually be Blackbeard's. We have the rippling ocean that fades into the morning mist on the horizon, where we can see the clouds and a human skull. There are some inaccuracies historically, but this is still an awesome and above-the-top coin and scores a 10 for the back. Mintage is our next area. If you do not have one of these currently, you will probably have a hard time getting one of these, seeing as its listed minted amount is only 15,000, which scores it a 9 out of 10. Cultural significance is our next area. This coin is under the microstate of Tuvalu, a small island in the South Pacific. This coin has a huge cultural significance to North America and could be argued for some of the Caribbean islands, but not the Pacific island of Tuvalu. I have to give it a 2 because it has wild significance, just not for this tiny island. Collectability is our next category. This is an extremely low mintage coin that has one of the coolest and most collectible themes in all coins, which is pirates. It is a well done coin overall and scores a solid 10. When it comes to uniqueness, like I said, we have seen a couple of gold and silver pieces with this same boat. Togo had a coin in 2015 and Cameroon had one in 2000. So that being said, I still think it is unique, but there are a couple of other knockoff type coins, so I give it an 8. This is a shocking total score for this coin of 45 out of 60, which ties it with the Puffin of Alderney. My desire for this coin is so much higher, but it goes to show you that even when you have a beautiful coin, it needs to be in conjunction with the minting country and not just a country choosing a cool topic and making a financial gain while having no relevance. The Puffin scored high because it is highly significant to Alderney. If this had been a coin issued by the US Mint, or maybe even a Caribbean coin, we would be seeing high 50s as a score. In conclusion, sometimes scores matter, and sometimes the individual's desire to have a coin is what's most important. This is still a well-scoring coin, but it falls short of the great coins being above the threshold of 50 points. I thank you for watching and staying classy and current with the culture of currency.